All right, this is what we call a JB and Sandy deep dive, where we get into a little deeper topic than you can on the radio, right? We can go uninterrupted for as long as we want on a podcast. And one of the really amazing things about working at iHeart Austin is, JB and I, we have a little bit of a reputation in Austin radio. We got people know who we are. You come to this building, and you're surrounded by people that make us look like punks. We got Bama Brown and Bob Pickett are both, and Big Frank, who's on at night. All three of them are Texas Radio Hall of Famers. We've got Mark Henry down the hall, the world's strongest man, who is a world champion in professional wrestling and a Hall of Famer in the WWE. And then you got Mike Hardge, who played 13 seasons of professional baseball, was a second-round pick and a high school All-American out of Killeen, played in the big leagues, and he's going to sit down and talk with us, and we're going to talk some baseball. And he's also the host on AM 1300, The Zone, every morning. He and Mark, our team. So check that out, too. Thanks for taking the time.
I'm excited. This is fun because, like you said, you get to walk in the building and you get to see all these different personalities, people that have been around the community, made their reputations on radio, and now you actually get to see the people and hang out with the people. It's pretty doggone cool. You forgot to mention Ann Hudson, who's in this building as well, too. She just got an award for being who she is as well. So it is really, really cool to be part of the iHeart family, and we're glad that you guys are part of it as well. Y'all are in the building now.
Did you even know who we were?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I've known y'all for a long time. I've listened to y'all. I don't always listen to sports radio. Every once in a while I like to see what's really going on in the world.
And, I grew up in the area, so being here on a legendary station is humbling and cool. You grew up in the area listening to Austin radio.
Absolutely.
And Killeen, although we used to listen to radio out of Harker Heights.
Yep. And my aunt actually owned the building and the radio station. Her name is Julia Connor. She was one of the owners, and she ended up selling to iHeart.
Oh, she did all right.
Good
She
for
did
her.
good. She did good.
What I want to talk about, balls and strikes. I don't want to talk about all that. I want to talk about not the culture of baseball, but kind of the unwritten rules of baseball, because there are a lot of them. I find it fascinating that the players have a code. There's a code in baseball. It's probably the best word for it, that the players abide by. Is it the same? Has the code in baseball, and we're going to get into some of the nuances of what the code is, but has the code in baseball changed since the 1950s to now?
I agree. It has changed. And the reason why I say I agree that the game and the unwritten rules have become ones that of the past is because the new era of baseball player, the new era of people, is really what it is. The social media aspect of it all, the flair, I want to be popular, I want to make sure people know my name. There's certain things that have kind of changed in the world of baseball. I'll give you one example. When I was playing for Montreal, we were in Double-A. We were playing a Tigers team, and there was a guy that hit a home run that was in front of me. And we had been jawing back and forth with this team, and there were great battles within the team. Well, the guy hits a home run in front of me, and I tell everybody in the dugout, I said, if he throws at me, we're going. Just because I wasn't the one who hit the home run and then flipped the bat and all that other stuff. I've always had a problem with that written rule because it's always the next guy. Well, because you did this, I'm going to hit your teammate so you'll know not to do that again.
Right.
Well, sure enough, I told the umpire, the catcher had already gone out to the pitcher. I knew what was happening. I'm standing in the back corner of the batter's box, and I look at the home plate umpire, and I tell him, hey, this dude throws anywhere close to me. It is happening. And he was like, all right. Soon enough, threw the ball behind me. We clear the benches. Everything goes wild. Just a great, as they like to say, the Donnybrook.
Yeah,
it was a great Donnybrook.
Yeah.
But it was one of those situations that could have been avoided because they had guys that got hurt in this brawl.
Right.
We didn't get hurt.
Yeah.
We were a better team. We were better fighters at that time. So it was all about, okay, how's that unwritten rule need to be changed? Well, if you want to douse somebody, douse the dude that did it. And we all understand that. He understands that. But when you penalize the guy behind him, that's the one that always has a problem.
So can you go to, all right, it's done. The fight happened. You got hit. You guys threw down, and it's over, right? But what happens when someone gets hit and then it's time to retaliate. I think of Pedro in the World Series, or in the ACLS, and he asked his boys, who you want me to hit?
Right.
Is that common?
That is very common because there's some guys that have grievances against other players. There might be some stuff that goes on. Most of the time, they want to hit your best player. You want to go after the best player. You don't want to hurt them because they are the best player.
And it depends on where you hit them.
And you got to make sure you don't hit up in the head. And that's one of the rules as well. Because if you start throwing at people's heads, you start messing up their livelihood.
Yeah.
You make it where those guys may not be able to play the sport that they love. So you have to make sure that you're in the right spot. So in those moments, you have to go down there and pay your respects. And there's a lot of times that guys will say, not this time. Don't do it this time. We'll see them again. We'll play them again. And you get it when they're least expecting it. Because during the game, right after it happens, you honestly know it's going to go down. Right. Pedro didn't care. Right. Pedro was ready at the drop of a hat. As you saw, he does not care. He controls it because he has that baseball. Right. And he knows that. So, yeah, there's a lot of times that it's automatic retaliation, but then there's some you wait a little bit. Sometimes it's a year. Sometimes it can be a year, and the guy thinks he's in the clear.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, boom, you remember on April 17th when you were popping off? That was what that was for.
That's the receipt.
Yep.
That's the receipt.
What's it feel like to get hit by a 100-mile-an-hour ball?
It's not good. I'm just going to tell you that. It is not good.
I mean, it
very
doesn't
painful.
look that bad, but it's got to be.
Oh, you're tough in the moment because the adrenaline and everything else, but the next day you got a bruise on your back for just big as a softball, and it's painful. It's definitely painful, especially now. When I was coming up, the guys that threw hard, they were 95-mile-an-hour fastball throws. That 95. Oh, my God, that guy's amazing. If he threw 98, whoo, watch out, first-round pick. Now, you can go to your local rec league and find a kid that's doing that now because the game has changed. The strength is different. The way that they train all the time, it's a totally different game
They
than
got to
what it
lower
was
the
before.
mound.
But see,
They got to lower the mound.
I think they need to raise it.
Really?
I think that because if it's lower, it's flat. That means you're going to be able to see it. But if it's coming from back in the day with Bob Gibson and those guys where they were coming off the mound and striking everybody out, Nolan Ryan with that high leg kick coming downhill, that's why the ball looked like it was always rising because they were releasing it low and it was coming up. It wasn't because they were actually throwing a rise ball.
You mentioned a couple names that we'll go back to hitting players and the code of that. Were there certain pitchers like Gibson, like Nolan Ryan, maybe Clemens, you didn't mess with them?
Exactly.
I mean,
those three that you just mentioned, absolutely. Yeah. Those were the guys that you knew, all right, if he's coming at me, you saw what happened when Robin Ventura tried to
ass whipped.
Yes, by the old man. Yeah. You know, he's been wrestling steer.
Right.
You know better than to go out there. So, yes, those were the guys. I actually played with Roger Clemens when he was doing a rehab start. I was in AAA in Pawtucket. I was playing third base. Clemens was on the mound. And, you know, it was right after the strike. So he already had the red ass. He was already mad at certain players for crossing the line at that point. And he actually came into the locker room and was asking, all right, who on that other team is a replacement player? You know what I'm saying? Because he was there to get his work in, but he was also there to send a message like, hey, you don't do these types of things, and you're going to pay for it at some point. So it's different.
What's the code with a big leaguer like Clemens, really any big leaguer, on a rehab assignment, maybe playing in Round Rock? They spend 3, 4, 5, 2 weeks there, whatever. Do they do anything for the boys when they leave?
Absolutely.
What do they do?
They give you the best spread that you have ever had. You get so much good food in the locker room. He takes care of you. If you want to go out to dinner or go out and hang out at night, he makes sure that everybody is taken care of. They always sit there and have a powwow. We always got a chance to talk to the big leaguers about life in the big leagues. What do we need to be prepared for when we get there? But yes, they come down, they take care of all the players, the families. It's a good time always.
So that's old school too. That tradition will probably never go away.
No,
because
it will
if
not.
you made it to the show and then you're back down, You got to take care of your guys, right?
Absolutely.
You just you have to do it.
Absolutely. Because he knows that a lot of people in minor leagues aren't making a lot of money either.
Yeah,
you
true.
know, so those moments are cherished when you get to play with a big leaguer, with a big name that's had success and continue Hall of Fame caliber type guys. They pay it forward with a lot of those guys. So,
and there are guys probably at every level of baseball that, like, I'm friends with Kevin Millar.
Yep.
And he was the clubhouse guy. I mean, he's a guy you want to be a teammate with, and he makes sure those rules are enforced.
Absolutely.
Right? There's always one guy that's like that. Talk about a little bit about the tradition of taking care of your clubhouse guys.
Oh.
I mean, this is interesting to me.
Well, it's kind of funny because, as I said, you don't make a lot of money in the first place in the minor leagues, just in the minor leagues. But in the big leagues, obviously, they live really good in the big leagues, the clubhouse guys. But in the minor leagues, it's different because there's only certain guys and certain budgets. You have to pay your clubhouse dues, and if the food is gone before the homestand is over, what do? It's a little difficult for them. Okay, so we're going to pay more money to go get more food because somebody decided to eat more than expected or do something crazy. One time in Rockford, Illinois, I went to the concession stand in my uniform. I was like, I got to get something to eat. Yes, I've got to get something to eat. I got to the field early, did my early work, got in there, got everything done, took batting practice. We're getting ready to play. And I'm like, I am starving. And the clubby was doing some other stuff, and nobody was around. The bat boys were already on the field. And I was like, you know what? I know the people at the concession stand. I'm gonna run out here real quick.
Did they charge you?
Yeah, they charged me, but I got a discount. I had a player's discount. But it was like, I need to get something to eat. So sometimes you have to do that. But as you get up in AA, AAA, obviously the big leagues, the spreads get a lot better. The time in the clubhouse is a lot better because say you bring down a couple bats down to the dugout and you break one of them, the clubby will go back inside and go get it for you, bring it back out. He knows where everybody's stuff is. He knows the superstitions that everybody has. So they're a very important part, an integral part of the success of a locker room.
And they get paid in tips at the end of the year. Is that right?
You pay them every month.
Oh, every month.
Yeah, and sometimes you can pay them every homestand too.
Oh, okay.
Because a lot of times they're doing stuff every single day.
That's
so at the end of the homestand, you can tip out if you want to.
What a great job for a kid, a young person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wrote a letter to the Kansas City Royals to be a ball boy.
Oh, did you?
And I got a nice letter back.
Yeah.
But didn't get it. And I would have been the worst ball boy ever.
Wouldn't have been paying attention, looking around.
Exactly.
Talking to everybody else.
I would have screwed the whole thing up. But that is cool.
What are some of the other, and going back to the code of baseball, what are some of the other ones? Like, is there a one when you're up a certain amount of runs, you don't swing at the first pitch, you don't steal a base, that type of stuff?
Yeah, there's so many of those types of ones where it's a 3-0 count, you're up in the big lead, and you don't try to embarrass the pitcher. He's already struggling. Let him try to throw, not let him, but have him throw strikes. So you don't want to swing 3-0. Another one is don't bunt during a no-hitter.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, you cannot break up the no-hitter with a bunt. I mean, if you do it early in the game, maybe 4th or 5th inning, cool. But if he's got a no-hitter going in the 7th and 8th inning and you try to drag bunt, remember when we were talking about getting drilled with a fastball? Yeah, you're going to get that receipt. You're going to get that receipt quickly.
And didn't someone do it a few years ago?
Yes, they did. And they got heckled and they got yelled at and they almost caused a fight. So,
yeah.
Well, that's terrible for the fans, too.
Right, because they want to see it.
That's the best thing. That's what you want to see as a fan.
Exactly.
To witness a no-hitter in person.
Yeah, and it goes back to understanding the respect of the game. Everybody knows how difficult it is to be able to do that. Why didn't you drag bunt earlier in the game? Are you doing it just to do that?
Just to be an a-hole.
Yeah. I'm like, man, I got to worry about my average. I'm trying to get to the big leagues. Let me get this bunt down. Or even in the big leagues. I've got to stay up here. I got to get on. But your teammates will look at you kind of different as well.
Yeah, like, what the hell did you do that for?
Exactly, because now we got to deal with it.
Right, because it's once one guy does an a-hole thing like that,
yes,
it's as if the whole team did it.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
It's crazy. Are there still in big league baseball today, or in baseball in general, minor league doesn't matter, are there still hard-nosed guys? I mean, Pete Rose, God rest his soul, he played hardball baseball.
Absolutely.
Lenny Dykstra, as big as an a-hole of a human being that guy is, played hard baseball.
Yep.
Kevin Millar, we mentioned that he was a hard-nosed guy. There ain't guys like that'll go in head first hard into second base?
Yeah, there's still some guys in the league that played that way. I mean, a guy that comes to mind that is now doing TV was A.J. Przinsky.
Oh, yeah.
You know, behind the plate, he was that guy. You didn't want to mess with him, and the catchers are normally those guys. Molina and those types of guys are the ones that are playing hard. But the game now is a lot of people, as we talked about, there's a lot of people playing with flair, but then there are some guys that are – perfect example, Bryce Harper.
Oh, great. I mean, yeah.
Bryce Harper is that guy that will dust up, slide in, but makes you want to understand enforcing the rules of the game and making sure that you play the right way. Mike Trout, another perfect example of it. A guy that's been in the league for a long time that everybody respects, but he also plays the game the right way. Aaron Judge is another guy, the captain, the guy that everybody looks at and is playing the game the right way. Now, when I say the right way, it's the way that people perceive it to want to be played. As I said before, the game has changed a lot. The flair, the ability to show passion. I said this, and I know a lot of people probably disagreed with me, but during the World Baseball Classic, when the fans were going crazy, the players were flipping the bats and all that stuff, I thought it was perfect for that type of sport and what they were representing. They were representing their country. And those are the types of things that I'm like, I'm fine with all of that. You're representing your country. They come from nothing. They are trying their best to show that they're passionate about their country. Here in the U.S., everybody's buttoned up. Everybody wants to be so professional. I'm like, show the passion too. Yeah. Show the passion too. This is your time to break out of your shell and not be so professional that you understand that this is what it's all about. It's about the U.S. of A. Yeah. So there's certain things that I think you can get away with at the right time as opposed to being buttoned up and professional the whole time.
Do you why do we coddle pitchers so much? Why do ball clubs, I mean, what's up with showing up a pitcher? You flip a bat, get over it. The guy that intercepts a pass and scores a touchdown, in the NFL,
he's high stepping the whole way,
and they're doing a celebration in the end zone. Yep. Why are pitchers so special? Screw them.
I agree. I agree with you 100%. As somebody that was a position player, I totally understand that. I always try to say, well, hey man, don't hang a breaking ball. Yeah. Make a better pitch in that situation. Make sure that it's. I know a lot of people, they use this word so much, and it drives me nuts. Integrity. Yeah. I'm like, this is a sport. Mm-hmm. This is a sport. There's going to be some things that happen in a sport that are outside of the norm. So enjoy the moment. If I hit a ball 450 feet, you best believe I might make that bat go up into the stands. I'm going to be so excited about it. Right. Because it's a rare feat. A lot of guys don't do that. And people are like, well, you should expect to do it. Well, he just threw me 100 mile an hour under my chin. Mm-hmm. And then he hung something across the middle of the plate, and I just hit it 450. Yeah, that's payback. Yeah. That's payback.
I don't know why. I hate that about baseball. Yeah. It's like, the guy flips a bat, good for you.
Yep.
Have
he hit
fun.
a home run.
Who cares how fast you run the bases either?
Exactly.
Right. Soak it up.
Yeah.
You want to soak up every second.
And the fans are going crazy for you. Enjoy the moment because your next at bat may be your last.
Yeah, it's crazy. Let's talk. I want to talk about the call when you got called up. Tell me about how that happened and what your reaction was. Where were you? Did you feel it coming? And who told you?
Well, so I was in AA. We were getting ready for the playoffs. We were near the end of the playoffs, and we ended up winning the championship that year. But I was getting ready to do that.
Is this when they expand the roster?
They expand the roster. Okay. I was on the 40-man for 2 seasons. Okay. So I was on the Major League roster for 2 seasons.
Right.
And as this was happening, you can kind of feel certain things happen because you're seeing guys that you played with that might have been in AAA. They're getting called up. They're getting ready for the playoffs. They're getting all this stuff. And the year that I got called up, I was in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I was getting ready to go to, my manager told me, David Joust, he was telling me, hey, you're getting ready to call up. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah, this is what's going on. But we went on strike. And so it was, when I was getting ready to go to Pittsburgh, because Montreal was in Pittsburgh, they were like, you are getting called up, but don't report.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wait, what? And they were like, yeah, we're getting ready to go on strike, and we need you to stay there so you can play in the playoffs. You'll get paid the whole time. You'll get your money because you're in the minor leagues at that time. So I was still being able to get my money, but being on the major league roster, it changed the dynamic because you never know when you're going to get that call again.
Right.
You never know when you're going to get that call again. And so fast forward, I end up breaking my foot the next year. Then I end up going to the Boston Red Sox, and I was in that organization. Thought I was going to get called up, but they had Nomar Garcia Park. And the other part of it is, too, and Millard can actually speak to this a little bit. When you're coming from another organization, you're not technically their guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So all the good grace that you had at one organization is not necessarily the good grace you're going to have at another organization.
You got to go politic.
You got to go politic. You got to go and make sure that you're around the right people and you're doing the right things, because what you may seem as the right thing to you may not be the right thing for that organization. Fast forward, I go to the Yankees. I'm in AA. They trade Drew Henson. They signed me to come in and replace Drew Henson. Drew Henson went on to play for the Cincinnati Reds, and then he ended up being the Dallas Cowboy quarterback.
Yeah.
You know, so I was with him, and I get to AA with them, and I have to go to Florida. Well, I have a goatee, I have earrings, I have all this other stuff. Well, their rules are no facial hair. Yeah. And I was like, all right, cool. I'll do it later when I get back to the hotel because all my stuff is at the hotel. And they were like, no. You can't get on the field until you shave.
Wow. Steinbrenner.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah. And I was like, what? I'm like, different organization. Yeah. Totally different time. And, you know, the Cardinals, they were great. I played with the Cardinals as well. Great organization. I just had shoulder surgery. I was actually in the locker room when Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa were having that chase.
What a great summer.
Yes, unbelievable.
A great summer, man.
And Mark McGwire breaks the record against the Montreal Expos, the team that I started with, and I'm in the locker room, sedated, but I'm in the locker room, and they're playing my old team with a lot of my old friends on that roster. So, long story short, the call-up thing, it is an unbelievable moment, but it was one that I couldn't really enjoy because of the strike.
That sucks, man.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yes, and lives changed after that. A lot of lives changed after that, for good and for bad.
Yeah.
Because the money now, the union in Major League Baseball is one of the strongest unions that you'll ever see. Mm-hmm. They don't break the rules on that for anybody. That's why they have so many guaranteed contracts. That's why you can see a Shohei Ohtani making as much money as he is, Mike Trout, Mookie Betts. All the best players are getting paid because of the strike.
Yeah, it's funny. My dad's an old school New York guy and Yankee fan, and he says, I remember when they paid Joe DiMaggio $100,000.
Right.
And they couldn't believe. There were people on the streets were like, nobody worth $100,000. That's ball players worth $100,000. Now they're making hundreds of millions.
That's $100,000 a day now for a lot of guys.
It's crazy. What do you are there? So you got, let's say you get a young guy comes up, signs a big contract. Are there any older guys that pull him aside and go, bro, just so you know, be careful?
Absolutely.
They're good.
Yeah,
there
absolutely.
needs to be some. It seems like that has gotten better across all of sports with young men taking care of their money, whereas so many of them go broke. But I always point it back to Shaquille O'Neal because he spent all his money on his first deal. Then he got his act together and is like, I don't need to be doing that anymore. Am I right in seeing that with today's athletes?
Well, there's so many stories that are out there, right? Mm-hmm. And you don't have to go far to find them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you are really educating yourself and understanding the power of the dollar now, what is going to be in the future, you find a way to do it. When I got drafted, what I made on my signing to what the exact same pick that is getting right now is quadrupled.
Yeah.
How much money these kids are getting now. I have friends that are still in the game. I have friends that are scouts. I talk to them regularly. He said, we're paying mediocre guys $3 and $4 million. Signing bonuses now. Signing bonuses now. That's just the bonus. They didn't even made it to the big leagues yet.
Right.
And the signing bonus are now what big league money was. Nolan Ryan being the first $1 million guy. Think about that.
That's
$1 million.
crazy.
Now, guy is making $1 million every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
I got a story for y'all. When I was with Boston, AAA, as I said, Roger Clemens and all those guys were there. Jose Canseco was doing rehab with us in AAA. His locker was right next to mine. This was when Jose was Jose. Like, you never knew what he was going to do. You never knew if he was showing up, if he was going to play
If he had
or
a
not.
gun in his bag,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
didn't know what he was
know
doing.
what was happening. And he told me this story. He came in, and they kept saying, Jose, you got to go play left field today. And he's like, Jose's not playing left field. He's like, no. And I'm like, you have to play. They said you have to play left field for you to get called back up to the big leagues. They want to make sure that you can go out there and play. He said, if they don't know I can play the outfield by now, I'm not really worried about it. And I was like, what? So we get back in the locker, and I'm like, what is that all about, man? And he was like, I just don't want to wear a hat, man. I really don't want to wear a hat. And I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, I don't want to wear a hat. And so I had this joke with him, and I was like, hey, man, won't you let me hold your check, man? Let me get that check. He's like, here. He's like, just pay me back.
Oh.
And I looked at it, and I was like, when do you expect me to pay this back, man? Like, no, man, keep this. I don't want Jose Canseco coming looking for me because of some money that I was joking about, and you actually just handed me your check and said, go get it cashed.
Jose's
I'm like, that
crazy.
ain't going to work, man.
He's
That's
crazy.
not. Yeah, he is definitely
He's
crazy.
nuts.
But he was one of the nicest guys that I'd ever spent time with.
He could hit.
He could definitely hit. And he really, think about it, he was one of the first 40-40 guys.
Yeah, 40 stolen bases and 40 home runs.
Yes.
That's amazing for a guy that big.
Yes.
To run like that.
Yes.
Was impressive.
Definitely.
Let's talk real quick. Is Shohei Ohtani is a once in a generation, once in 1,000 years player in the big leagues?
He is what we like to call a dinosaur. And the reason why I say that is because you don't ever see him.
Yeah.
You don't see dinosaurs.
Yeah.
He is one of the most athletic freaks that we have ever seen. You know how people talk about Victor Wembanyama in basketball and how he's an alien?
Mm-hmm.
That's what Shohei is. He is so unique in his skill set that what people truly do not understand is he could be the top pitcher in Major League Baseball if that's what he chose to do. He could be the top position player if that's what he chose to do. And he's definitely one of the top hitters if that's what he decided to do. And he just happens to be able to do all of them.
Yeah, he's a freak.
He's an absolute freak. And one of my former roommates, his name is Marcus Timms. He's the batting coach for the Kansas City Royals. He told me one time when he was with the Angels, I asked him, I said, what's up with Shohei? And he said, what do you mean? And I said, tell me something about him. And he said, he never takes batting practice on the field.
Oh, in the cage.
He only does it in the cage. He doesn't want to see the ball going out of the ballpark. He wants to focus on the fundamental stuff and doesn't want everybody watching him hit. So the Dodgers built another cage strictly for Ohtani in Dodger Stadium.
Really?
For him to go in there and get his work because he works differently than everybody.
Wow. I mean, I'm surprised the Dodgers aren't selling, or if he would allow it, sell tickets to watch him at batting practice.
Exactly.
But that's the kind of thing where people see that and they want to mimic that.
Right.
Like, maybe that's how I should be doing.
Maybe I can do it. And then you look at your DNA and you realize you're not him.
But can he go to the concession stand in a uniform?
Exactly.
Probably not.
But I guarantee you if he did, he wouldn't have to pay for it.
Hardball, Hardge, man. This is fun. I love doing this, and I'd like to do it again. Just
Absolutely.
talk baseball with you as we get closer. The season starts ramping up. You know, get the college game is on right now with the SEC, with the Longhorns, and
Yep.
of course everyone's trying to get to Omaha for the College World Series. So it's an exciting time for baseball, and let's do this again.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't fulfill his needs talking sports.
Yeah.
Like you can't, so this is like getting him a hooker for the night.
Well, hey, sign it up, baby. Sign it up. It's got to do with sports. I am your chosen one.
Check out Hardball Hardge every morning with Mark Henry on AM 1300, The Zone. And thanks, man.
I appreciate it, brother.
Good times.
No doubt.